Okay, here we go, Rabotai. Yudchet Amud Bet, 18b at the Mishnah at the top. Here we go. Stam Nedarim. Stam Nedarim. Vague. Vague Nedarim. Like you could understand it this way or understand it that way. Lechmir. If it's Stam, you go stringent on it. Upirusham Lakel. But if he explains what he meant, then you go lenient. Meaning if he explains that he was actually lenient in what he meant to say, then you go lenient. Let's see the run. Look on the right side. Stam nedarim la'achmir u'pirusham la'akel. Klomar. Mish nadar, someone made a neder. Ve'yesh lefarish leshono la'achmir u'la'akel. You could explain his words in a stringent way or in a lenient way. Kol shelo pirish echad mehem. If he didn't explain either one of them, lemanit kaven, to what his intention was, we go with stam, that it's lachmir, that it's to be stringent. Upirushan leakel, continuing in the run. But if he explained his words and it's lenient in his explanation, then you go lenient. Im piresh achar kach ve'amar lekach nitkavanti. If he explains later on and he says, no, this is what I meant, we rely on his words. Even if his words are lenient, we rely on them. The entire Mishnah until the end basically is until Neder Becherem is explaining Stam Lachmir. From Neder Becherem and onwards, it's going to tell us how to like lenient. Okay. Now the Mishnah is going to go through many cases that it could be this way or that way, and we're going to explain the cases. Here we go.
It's all going to be related to this sentence?
All related to this situation, yeah.
Situation?
Here we go. Kate said, how do you have a case of Stam Nedarim? Hare alai kebasar maliach. A guy says, this meat is like salty meat. Basar maliach. Now, basar maliach could refer to korban, because for every korban salt was added, or it could be that he's referring to avodah zarah, like this is going to go on the mizbeach, but God forbid the mizbeach avodah zarah. Also, keyayin nesech. So he says, this wine is like yain nesech. Now nowadays we call yain of goyim yain nesech, or we call it stam yenam. But nesech means to pour. So if he says this is like yain nesech, it means you're pouring on the mizbeach, or you're pouring it for avodah zarah. So how are you looking at it? So says the Mishnah, im beshel, and that brackets is not shalamim but rather shamayim. Im beshel shamayim nadar asur. If what he meant was for shamayim, that this is a korban, or this is yain that's going to be poured on the mizbeach, then it's asur, meaning then you what's it called? You made your wine, your meat, you made it asur. You made it just like you, because these items, which we learned, we said, let's say chazir, pig is intrinsically asur. So you can't say in Nedarim, this is like pig, even though you might say like that's the most obvious thing. I'm making my kosher meat. I'm saying this is asur to me like pig. You can't. That doesn't work, and it's still allowed. You're still allowed to eat it. Why? Because neder works on something that also became asur through a neder. So if the person says, this animal is going to be a korban, I took a regular animal and I changed it into a korban. I made it asur. And now if I say my piece of meat is like a korban, then yeah, you can make your piece of meat, that's a regular piece of meat, also asur like a korban.
You can make something that's forbidden, make a neder that to be forbidden.
Right, not if it's forbidden from Hashem.
Right,
I can't compare.
You can't make a neder on it, saying I'm not going to do that because it's already forbidden.
Right. If I say this piece of meat is like pig,
right,
it's not like pig. Pig is asur from Hashem.
Right.
This you can't compare your kosher meat to pig.
Right.
It's asur from Hashem. This is not. But if this is a korban, A korban is something that was a born regular animal, and I decided I want to make this a korban. Fine, this is a korban. Then I take this piece and I say, I want this to be like a korban. Then that works. Because this was a regular piece of meat. I want to make it like that regular piece of meat that transformed to be a sacred piece of meat, so that I can take this regular piece of meat and make it a sacred piece of meat. So if I say, if so, in this case, the guy says basar maliach. So he says, I want my regular meat to be basar maliach. If his intention was for shamayim to make it like a korban, then it's asur. You made your piece of meat asur, just like a korban is asur. Im bishel avodat kochavim nadar mutar. If you made it like this is going to be like avodah zarah is intrinsically asur. You can't make your piece of meat like avodah zarah, and therefore, actually, your piece of meat is going to be allowed. Ve'im stam asur. And if stam, like we don't know his explanation. When the guy says, I want this like basar maliach, I walked away. Well, what's your explanation? We don't know. We go stringent. If we ask him, he said, no, I was mitkaven shamayim. No, or I was mitkaven avodah zarah, then it's lenient. I was mitkaven shamayim, okay, then it's stringent.
Wait, shlamim is like a...
No, shlamim here is whenever you have a round bracket, it means to not say that word, to take it out. And that little aleph, you go to the side, it says no, it shouldn't be shlamim, it should be shamayim. Because...
So why would they put it there if they're gonna...
Good question. So the answer is like this, that okay, so number one is there could be an explanation to it. But generally it doesn't make sense. Like, let's say we read it. Im b'shel shlamim. If you made this neder like a shlamim, shlamim is one of the korbans, but it's not like, why would I choose that one over all the other korbans? I'm making it like a korban shamayim. B'shel shamayim. I'm saying this is for shamayim, which is all the korbans. It has to be shlamim, so that's a little bit off. So now, why is it there? So that's a general rule with like the words of our Chachamim, especially Gemara, etc. We don't ever like erase and say like, oh, this is wrong, erase, and then that's how obviously the Torah is the Torah. That's for sure not. We're mistaken, but Torah Shabbat Peh, if there's ever any like one word here, one word there, we never erase and omit, but rather that's what like the Bach says, adds this word or adds that word. We always keep everything in the original form, and then maybe there could be a time later. No, really, that's what it meant, and the Mefarshim will explain. Really, that's why it was like that, or that's why it's like that, or even let's say so round brackets already like from the time of the Gaon of Vilna, where they this is Vilna Shas 300 years ago, right? So this is right Vilna. Yeah. Right, so this is the Vilna Shas, meaning it was the Gaon of Vilna that put, before the Gaon of Vilna's time, it was like separate books, like Mishnah, Gemara, Rashi, Tosfot. He put it, and how many dapim we have, he put this all together. So at that time, that's where they put the brackets and certain words that really it doesn't make so much sense, or we could omit it. Instead of like at the end of this page, the word nami, it's going to be omitted. But we don't actually omit the word. If it was there, we don't actually omit the word. Now, how did that get in there? Sometimes it could be through printers, through also beforehand there was always handwritten. Just the word shlamim to shamayim is just that extra lamed that's in there. So if a guy copied a copy, this one copied a copy by handwritten, you never know. That's why also when the Gemara already talks about it, when Ezra HaSofer came back to Eretz Yisrael after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, they had all these Sifrei Torah. Now, the Beit HaMikdash got destroyed, and they were in shambles, Bnei Israel. So they want to make sure that the Torah is written properly. So he took all these Sifrei Torah they had, compared. All your Torah say the same thing? Yes. All your Torah say the same thing? Yes. Now, there were some mistakes, but it was a very strong majority to show which one was the correct one, which one was. It was like 19 said this, 1 said that. So you knew that the 19 were correct. On every one of the differences, it was that. And then, years later, when Bnei Israel came from all the countries to Eretz Yisrael now, 50, 70 years ago. So also but everything was the same. Temanim had a few little differences, but the only differences were in spelling, but not in pronunciation or meaning. Sometimes it was spelled with a hey at the end or no hey at the end, with a vav in the middle, like lokeach with a vav, or without a vav. So a few little differences. But yeah, so everything you never erase. But then also in the more modern printers where they put everything into a letter by letter into a stencil, they printed, right, press. So that could have been mistakes. But we don't just take out the mistake. We put brackets around it. We write on the side. This is what I meant to say. Whatever. To always make sure to keep the original. Okay, let's continue. Let's read the Ran. The next Ran, Ketzad hare alai kebasar maliach v'yayin nesech. Right side, about 8 lines down. Klomar, Ketzad karui stam nedarim. What's called stam nedarim? Ha'omer kebasar maliach v'yayin nesech. The mashma shel shamayim. V'karei lebasar maliach mishum dichtiv al kol korban echad takriv melach. It says in the pasuk, on every single korban, offer salt as well. So basar maliach be referring to korbanot. Mashmana mishal avodat kochavim. It's also mashma for avodat kochavim ki agavna have stam. So this type of situation is a stam nedarim. The im piresh shamayim asur. Vim piresh avodat kochavim mutar. Vim stam. The mashma hachi. If it's stam, it could be learned this way. It could be learned that way. Asur. Haresh stam nedarim leachmir. Okay. Okay. Recording resume. All right. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that anyways. But
No, because I think then your call won't go in and your phone is off.
Right, your phone.
oh, you could do that?
Yeah.
How do you get to the do not disturb? After. Okay, here we go. Continuing along. Next, Mishnah. Back to the Mishnah. We are 5 lines down. Hare alai kecherem. A person says, "This is on me like a cherem." So, what cherem are we talking about? Im kecherem shel shamayim asur. V'im kecherem shel kohanim mutar. V'im stam asur. So when it comes to cherem, there's cherem for shamayim and cherem for kohanim. Cherem for shamayim is like korbanot. So I'm saying this item is like for Hashem. So that's asur. It's like for a korban. Cherem the kohanim is basically something that I'm giving to the kohanim. It's going to be allowed for the kohanim. So it's mutar. And therefore, if that's what I meant over here, this is something that's mutar. So it's mutar. It's continuing to be mutar. Stam is asur. Next, hare alai ke maaser. He says, this thing is upon me like maaser. Which maaser are we talking about? Im maaser behema nadar asur. V'im shel goren. Goren is it's a good English translation. Goren, the granary. If it's something with the granary, mutar. V'im stam asur. So what's the case? You have maaser behema and you have maaser stam, like maaser rishon. It's maaser of the granary, of the goren. Maaser behema is a person who has animals, and you have to take 10% of your newborn animals every year. So what you do is you have all your animals in one. Let's say it's the first time around. So you have all your animals in your field. You make a fence, and you have a little opening, and you herd the animals through that opening, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 10th, you strike him the top of the animal with a red dye, and then that's how you get your 10. Now, all those animals go to the Kohanim, and it is asur for regular people to have. It is maaser behema for Kohanim. So if I say that this is like maaser, if it's maaser behema, it's asur. Maaser rishon is the 10% that goes to the Levi. So that technically a regular person could eat. So therefore, it's mutar. So I'm saying this is like maaser rishon. Maaser rishon is mutar technically. It belongs to the Levi, but the Levi can do whatever he wants with it and give it to me, as opposed to teruma. Only Kohanim could have teruma. Wife of Kohanim, family, whatever, right? So, but Levi could share his maaser with whoever he wants. So I say this is like maaser of the granary. Technically, yeah, it's going to belong to the Levi, but he can give it back to me, etc. So it's mutar. Stam is asur. Next. Hare alai keturuma. If I say now, this item is like teruma. Im keturuma talishka nadar asur. Vim shel goren mutar. Vim stam asur. So there's two types of teruma. There's teruma to the kohen, which teruma to the kohen we learned is intrinsically asur. If you remember, we learned that when grain grows in Eretz Yisrael, we're talking about, the second it grows, it's tevel. Tevel is that you didn't take off teruma or maaser from it. Tevel is asur to eat. And then what you do is you take off teruma and maaser. When you took off the teruma, and now this tevel turned into teruma, it's still asur for the Yisrael and the Levi to eat. It just is good for the Kohen. So it's intrinsically asur for the regular Jew to eat, just like pig is. And therefore, if I say this is like teruma, no, it's not. Teruma was asur from the beginning, like chazir is. This is mutar. You want to make it asur, you have to compare it to something that you made asur, like a korban. So therefore, that's the explanation. Im shel goren mutar. If you want to compare this item, this is like teruma of the granary, then it's mutar because you can't compare it to the two. Terumat halishka is the teruma in this week's parasha that you donate to the Bet HaMikdash. So what I do is I take my coin, which is a regular coin, and I donate it to the Bet HaMikdash. Machatzita shekel. I donate it to the Bet HaMikdash. Once I donate it to the Bet HaMikdash, it turns that regular coin into an asur coin for me because it belongs to the Bet HaMikdash. So therefore, if I take my regular coin and say this is like teruma of the Bet HaMikdash of the Machatzita shekel, it also will make it asur.
He made it asur.
Exactly.
Not the goren is already asur.
Already, exactly. So the im stam asur, but stam is asur. Okay. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Those are the words of Rabbi Meir. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says, Stam teruma beYehuda asura, beGalil muteret. Okay, so Rabbi Yehuda is introducing to us the different areas and provinces of Israel. I think we spoke about this before in Ketubot with regards to different Ketubah writings. It's talked about in Gittin with regards to also we spoke about traveling in between. So Israel had three provinces: the Yehuda, Judea in the middle, the Galil in the north, and the Negev, the Darom, was the south. So Rabbi Yehuda says there's a difference when someone says this is like teruma, stam. There's a difference if you say that in Yehuda or if you say it in the Galil. If you say it in Yehuda, it's asura. Why is it asura? So we're going to see the Ran in a moment, but let's explain. Let's speak it out. And in the Galil, it's muteret. Let's read it. The Galil muteret. She'en anshe Galil mekirin et terumat halishka. People of the Galil they're not familiar with the terumat halishka, with the donations to the Bet HaMikdash. The Galil was in the north. The Bet HaMikdash wasn't on their mind as much as the people that lived in Yehuda, in the middle. So therefore, when someone says, this is like teruma, then what are they referring to? They're referring to teruma of the granary. Because that's what they generally, when they're talking, this is like teruma, they're not thinking, they're in tzfat. They're not thinking this is teruma of the Bet HaMikdash, the Machatzita shekel. They're thinking of teruma of the food. Therefore, it's mutar because you've just compared it. So stam teruma b'Galil is muteret because you're comparing it to the teruma which is intrinsically asur. But stam teruma b'Yehuda, Yehuda was in the middle of Israel. When you talk about teruma near Yerushalayim, you're thinking about Machatzita shekel, and therefore you say this is teruma. Oh, that's like Machatzita shekel. Therefore, it's asur. Next, stam charamim b'Yehuda mutarin. Begalil asurin. She'en anshe Galil mekirin t'charmei kohanim. So he said charamim. There's two charamims. There's charamim. Cherem is for kohanim, which we said is mutar, and cherem of shamayim for korbanot, which is asur. So In the Galil, it was Asur, because they're not familiar with Charme Kohanim. Because the Galil is in the north. In the Bet HaMikdash, which is in the middle, the Kohanim worked there. And Kohanim generally lived around there. Because they knew they have to be on call. In general, it was 2 weeks a year that they worked in the Bet HaMikdash. Every Kohen basically had a 2-week rotation. So some families felt like, you know what, every year, 2 weeks we have to be here. Plus we have to be here for 3 times a year, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Might as well live around Yerushalayim. Plus Yerushalayim had the Bet HaMikdash. Plus Yerushalayim had the Sanhedrin. So all the tzaddikim wanted to be there. Plus the Kohanim in general were probably the tzaddikim more because they were so learned, they were so involved with Kedusha. So generally, so the people would want to live around Yerushalayim. So in the Galil, they didn't have Charme Kohanim. When someone said, this is a cherem, it was a gift for Kohanim, there were Kohanim around. So this is a cherem, means this is a korban, and then therefore it's asur. Whereas in Yehuda, they had a lot of Kohanim around. This is a cherem, means this is like a gift for the Kohanim, and therefore it's mutar. Let's read the Iran. Stam teruma be Yehuda asura. 4 lines up in the thin lines in the Ran. Stam teruma be Yehuda asura. If you be Yehuda mitoch shayu krovin the Bet HaMikdash, because Yehuda was close to the Bet HaMikdash, terumat al-lishka nami teruma stam karula. The truma of the lishka, the truma of the office, which is talking about the Bet HaMikdash. That's when the people would say teruma stam. That's what they meant, because the Bet HaMikdash was nearby. And therefore that was like stam nedarim lachmir, meaning stam truma was lachmir, because that's what they meant. And the Galil, the people of the Galil, they weren't familiar with Terumat HaLishka. That wasn't near them, so therefore they didn't refer to that when they said Teruma. They referred to Teruma of the ground. Since they were distant from Yerushalayim, they weren't so familiar with Terumat HaLishka. Lo karu la Teruma stama, ela Terumat HaLishka karula. They didn't call Truma stam to refer to Terumat HaLishka. Rather, when they were talking about Terumat HaLishka, they would say Terumat HaLishka. They wouldn't say Truma stam. Hilkach, therefore, kin nidre b'Truma stam. When they would say Truma stam, leka lesfuke kla b'Trumat HaLishka. You don't have to have a safek of Trumat HaLishka. It's not a safek. You know it's talking about Truma of the granary. And that's why it's allowed. Let's continue. Stam charamim beYehuda mutarim. Stam charamim in Yehuda was mutar, because they're talking about charamim of Kohanim. Kohanim were around. Kohanim makirim benehem. The Kohanim were hanging around among them. They're regilim becharme Kohanim. They karu lehunam yecharme stam k'charme gavoa. Charme stam was charme gavoa. Mishumachi gavoa for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mishumachi mutarin. Teach seifa. We didn't do that. You read the Zabar Tzadok. Who could eat the Gemara? V'sriyah the stam nedarim lahakel upligar rishad. Okay, that's going to be later on. Not today, but later in the Gemara. Ubegalil asurim, and in the Galil it was asur, because when they said stam charavim, it's talking about the Bet HaMikdash, because there's no Kohanim around. V'hainu dehadar ktani she'en anshe galim mekirim techar meKohanim. Demashma ta'amash den makirim hamakirim elu ve'elu mutarim. Okay. Yeah, the next one. שאין אנשי הגליל מכירים לחרמי הכהנים, שמתוך שלא היו כל כך כהנים ביניהם. לחרמי הכהנים לא קראו חרם סתם, הילקח כנדרה בחרם, לקה לספוקי במידי, there's no ספק. דוודאי חרם גבוה כאן, it's for sure they're talking about חרם to Hashem, not חרם כהנים, because there's no כהנים around. Okay. Okay, let's start the Gemara. This is the Gemara. V'atanan safek nezirut lakel. The Gemara asks a question. You said stam nedarim is stringent. Now, when a person becomes a nazir, it's a neder. It's a form of a neder. Stam nezirut is lenient. But nezirut is a neder. Safek nezirut la'akel. Stam nedarim means safek nedarim is la'achmir. Why is that so? Why is there a difference between nazir and regular nedarim? Nazir is also a form of nedarim. Our Mishnah is telling us regular nedarim, that's stam, stringent. Safek of nazir, lenient. A safek of nazir, an example would be, what's safek of nazir? An example would be, if there are 100 pounds of wheat here, I'm a nazir. And it looks like maybe it could be 100 pounds. Before they have a chance to weigh it, the whole thing gets burnt to a crisp. So they can't weigh it. But it's a safek, yeah, it could be 100 pounds. Safek nazir. Safek nazir, but lenient. He's not a nazir then. So that's the Gemara's question. What's the difference? Answers the Gemara. Amar Zera lo kasha. Not a question. Ha Rabbi Eliezer, ha Rabbanan. It's a machloket. Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbanan. If we go stam nadarim la'achmir or not, machloket. Titania, we see it right there. Hamakdish chayato ubehemato. A guy says, I wanted to donate to the Beit HaMikdash my chaya and my behema. Now, behema is like cows and goats and sheep. A chaya, pretty sure a chaya is a wild domesticated animal, meaning like
A lion.
like a deer. Yeah, it's not the best the translation. A deer is a chaya because it's like a safe animal. It's in the wild. So they say also a dog. Okay, dog is not kosher, but a dog is a chaya.
Chicken.
It's not a behema. No, it's off. It's considered off. It's considered poultry. Off.
But you have to cover the.
But isn't the chayot are kosher and the behemot are not?
No, behemot are kosher.
Oh, behemot
Cows.
Oh, behemot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even certain chayas are kosher, like
But not every.
deer and whatever. But just it's the definition.
What's the purpose of
Behema,
this?
behema is I think fully domestic. You're not going to find sheep in the wild. They would have got eaten. They would have got right like generations after generations. Cows also you don't really find. I don't think you find cows in the wild. They've also been eaten. And now it could be like maybe certain bulls you can find in the wild. I don't know, or bison, let's
It
say.
has to be kosher?
No,
Oh, it
but
doesn't. You can have a horse even.
right. So I think a horse. Yeah, you can have a wild horse. I mean, a horse could be a chaya. The dog is a chaya.
Donkey.
You could find.
Yeah.
So donkey can maybe be a behema. I don't think donkeys.
Oh.
Maybe they have donkeys that are
Domestic.
non-domesticated
Yeah.
in the wild.
I
I don't know.
think it's.
Do they have horses in the wild? They do have horses in the
Yeah,
wild.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so.
they do.
Yeah, they do, right? And so that's chaya and behema. Now, there's certain animal. So there's a certain animal that's called a koi. Or some say kvi.
Koi's a fish, no?
Yeah, koi is a fish. Some say koi is referring to a cow. Koi, cow. Right. Well, what do you have there? Yeah. There we go, Ezra.
Oh, that's a bull.
It could be one of
Oh.
them.
It's a certain type of ram or a certain
Water
type of
buffalo and mouflon or something.
Like a bison.
yeah, water buffalo and a mouflon.
Picture paid off.
Picture there.
Picture there.
Water buffalo or a mouflon. And for those that are listening,
3D.
yeah, exactly. For those that are listening,
Zoom in, zoom out.
okay, here. Water buffalo. So the Gemara says there's an animal called a koi or a kvi, where there's the machlok what it is, and it has properties of behema and chaya. So a guy says, we are 5 lines from the bottom. Titania, hamakdish chayato ubehemato. A guy says, I am donating to the Beit HaMikdash chaya and behema. He kdishat a koi. He donated his koi that he has because a koi is both chaya and behema. That is what he was referring to. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, this is lo hikdishat a koi. He did not donate his koi, meaning when a person says, I'm donating my chaya and my behema.
And you bring both as one.
How do you look at it? Do you look at it like I said something of safek? So that means a koi is both. So that's what I meant. Like it's like safek, or No, something that's a full chaya I'm donating, something that's a full behema I'm donating. So Rabbanan look at it as even a safek. I'm donating my chaya and my behema. Well, this koi is chaya, and it's also like behema. It's not fully of each, but it's part of each, donating the koi. Rabbi Eliezer says, no. When you said you're donating your chaya and you're donating your behema, it's a full chaya and a full behema, not a koi. Koi, which is like a safek. And therefore the Gemara says as follows. Man de Amar, the one that said, which is referring to Rabbanan, Mamono me'ayil sfeka, his money he offers and it goes up even in a doubt. Because the guy said, I'm donating my chaya, I'm donating my behema. Says Rabbanan, donate the koi. What do you mean? The koi could be this, could be that. It's a safek. Says Rabbanan, it counts. If you are considering your money, when it's a case of safek, do you consider like that's what I donated? Gufe nami me'ayil. Your body as well, you've also considered. When it's a safek, you've also considered. So, stam nedarim la'achmir is Rabbanan. Stam nedarim is safek. My body might be involved. I'm not going here, I'm not doing this, I'm doing that. Says Rabbanan, when it comes to money on a safek, we make you pay. So you for sure, you're including your body as well. So stam nedarim la'achmir, our Mishnah is Rabbanan. Uman de amar mamono lo me'ayil, and according to the opinion which is Rabbi Eliezer that says your money you don't bring in a case of a safek. Lesfeka. So mamono lo me'ayil lesfeka. Money you don't bring up when it's a case of safek. Gufe kol sheken de lo me'ayil lesfeka. Your body all the more so you don't bring for a safek. And your body all the more so you don't bring for a safek. And therefore, safek nezirut is la'akel. Because that's what our question was. Our Mishnah says, safek nedarim la'achmir. The Gemara brings from the Mishnah, safek nezirut la'akel. Nezirut is also a neder. So is the safek stringent or lenient? So the Gemara says, no, it's not a problem. It's a machloket, Rabbanan, Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbanan is our Mishnah, safek nedarim la'achmir. Rabbi Eliezer is the bright that says, safek nezirut la'akel. It's based on this concept. If I have a safek in money, when it comes to this koi, the guy says, I'm donating my chaya and my behema. Donate the koi, says Rabbanan. Safek, go with it. Rabbi says, no, it's still a safek, we don't go with it. So if you go with it with the money, you go with it with your body. That's why stam nedarim la'achmir. If you don't go with it with your money, all the more so you don't go with it with your body, and therefore stam nedarim, safek nezirut la'akel. Okay, let's do 2 runs, and then we'll call it a day. At the bottom, Yurchet Amud Bet. The bottom. Lo hikdish et hakoi. This is Rabbi Eliezer. It says you did not. Well, look at the one right before that. 2 lines up at the bottom. Hamakdish chayato ubehemato chayato o behemato. So he says or. So is that koi included or not? Lo hikdish et hakoi. So Rabbi Eliezer, your koi is not included. Tehaveh safek chaya safek behema. It's a safek. V'hi hikdish et behemto. If you said you want to donate your behema, amrinan dilma koi chaya, maybe a koi is a chaya, and you didn't fulfill your promise. V'ikdish chayato, if you donated your chaya, amrinan dilma behema, maybe a koi is a behema, so you didn't fulfill your promise. That's the way Rabbi Eliezer looks at it. Next run, gufe nami, your body as well, you did not include. Svirle de me'ayel sfeka. This is talking about the first explanation of gufe nami me'ayel, which is the Rabbanan. They hold you also in the case of safek you offer your money. Hilkach therefore matnitim the stam nedarim la'achmir Rabbanan. Therefore the Mishnah that says stam nedarim is to be stringent. That is the explanation of the Rabbanan. And look at the ran on the top of Yutet Amud Aleph. Kol sheken gufe lo me'ayil esfeka. All the more so for your body, you're not going up when it comes to safek. Hilkach therefore matnitin the stam nezirut le'akel Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, chazaku baruch. We'll continue on Sunday morning. Be'ezrat Hashem. Yehuda.
Thank you very much.
Chazaku baruch.
See you
Lada
Thursday.
tov.
Pizza.